If you're listening to this late at night, with the lights low and the room quiet, I want you to imagine one thing before we begin. Snow so heavy it erases the world outside your window, cutting you off completely. No phones, no power, no help coming. Because this story begins on a night just like that, when believing in something harmless, something comforting, turned out to be the worst mistake a family ever made. The blizzard hit the town of Gray Hollow without warning, swallowing the roads first, then the cell towers, then the power lines, until every house was sealed inside its own little pocket of darkness. At the Miller home, the fireplace became the center of the world, its orange glow fighting back the shadows creeping along the walls. 8-year-old Emma and her older brother Caleb sat cross-legged on the rug, vibrating with excitement, while their parents tried to pretend the storm wasn't making the house groan in ways it never had before. Wind screamed down the chimney like something alive, and Laura Miller kept glancing at the ceiling, her heart racing for reasons she couldn't explain. Ben, her husband, told the kids Santa would still come, he always did, but his voice cracked just enough to give him away. Then the thud came. It wasn't the soft slide of snow or the crack of ice. It was heavy, intentional. The entire roof shuddered as if something had landed on it with purpose. The children gasped, then laughed, scrambling closer to the fireplace, just as black soot began to spill down from the chimney, fluttering into the flames. "He's here!" Emma squealed, clapping her hands. Laura stood up so fast her chair fell backward, a cold pressure gripping her chest. Something was wrong. She felt it the way you feel a mistake seconds before it happens, when it's already too late to stop. The fireplace coughed, the fire dimmed, and something inside the chimney moved. Boots appeared first, large, black, slick with a dark, wet substance that wasn't melted snow. Then legs, unfolding at angles that made Laura's stomach turn, joints bending too far, too easily. The body followed slowly, squeezing through brick and stone, as if the chimney were wider on the inside, as if the house itself were letting him in. When he finally dropped onto the hearth, the man had to hunch to avoid hitting the ceiling. He was far too tall, far too thin, his red suit clinging to his body like skin, stained a deep, uneven crimson. His beard hung in clumps, matted and yellowed, and his eyes, God, his eyes were pale and reflective, like glass catching firelight. He didn't say, "Ho, ho, ho." He didn't smile. He inhaled deeply, as if savoring the warmth. "Cold night," he said, his voice tired, flat, and utterly wrong. Ben stepped forward, forcing a laugh that echoed too loudly. "Okay, that's enough. Who are you supposed to be?" The man raised a single finger. Ben stopped mid-sentence. He didn't know why. None of them did. It was as if the air itself had decided obedience was easier than resistance. The man walked to the dining table and sat at the head without being invited, the chair creaking beneath his weight. He folded his long fingers together and looked at them one by one, not like a guest, but like a judge reviewing cases. "Food," he said simply.
Laura doesn't remember deciding to move. She just remembered standing in the kitchen, hands shaking as she gathered leftovers, cookies, bread, anything. When she placed the plates before him, he ate with slow, deliberate bites, chewing far longer than necessary, eyes never leaving the family. The room filled with the sound of it, wet and patient, until he wiped his mouth on his sleeve, smearing the red darker. "Nice," he said, pointing at Emma. Emma beamed. "Naughty," he continued, turning to Caleb. Caleb laughed nervously. I don't think." "You broke the lock on Mr. Harris's shed. You took the knife. You cut the rope. You watched." Caleb screamed. Ben shot to his feet. "Get out of my house!" The man looked at him. Just looked. Ben sat back down. Now, if you're listening closely, this is the moment most people say they'd run, that they'd fight, that they'd do something different. But fear doesn't work that way. Fear convinces you that staying still is safer, that compliance might save you. And that's exactly what the visitor in red counted on. He turned to Laura next. "You signed the papers," he said softly. "You called it mercy. You never told him the doctor said she might have lived." Laura felt the room tilt. Ben stared at her, confusion twisting into horror. What is he talking about? She couldn't answer. Her secret had been spoken aloud, stripped of excuses, laid bare in front of the fire. The man finally faced Ben. "And you," he said, "you drove, you drank, you left him in the snow, you told the police you never saw him." Ben's mouth opened. No sound came out. "I don't bring gifts," he said, standing, unfolding to his full, impossible height. "Here's where I need you to pause for a second and ask yourself something. What would he find if he came to your table? What would he already know?" The fire flickered and went out. The house fell into darkness. There were no screams, at least none that carried beyond the walls. Just the sound of fabric tearing, something heavy being dragged, and the slow, steady rhythm of chewing. When morning came, the storm had passed, leaving the world clean and quiet, as if nothing bad had ever happened there at all. The Miller house was found undisturbed, no forced entry, no footprints leading away. The table was set neatly, plates spotless. Emma was alive, wrapped in a blanket on the couch, rocking gently and staring at the cold fireplace. When a paramedic asked her where her family was, she whispered, "He already ate." Ben was found in the basement, posed carefully against the wall, ash packed into his mouth. Laura lay in the kitchen, hands folded, eyes open, her expression strangely peaceful. Caleb was never found. No blood, no trail, only one small shoe placed beside the hearth, still warm. Investigators declared the chimney too narrow for an adult to pass through, yet its interior was coated in long black streaks that looked disturbingly like finger marks dragging upward. The 911 call that night was reviewed again and again, and beneath the chewing, analysts noticed something else, a second breathing sound, calm and patient, waiting its turn. Emma never spoke again, and every year since, when the snow falls heavy and the power flickers in Gray Hollow, people swear they hear a heavy thud on their roofs, followed by soot drifting into cold fireplaces. Somewhere in the dark, a tired voice whispers names, still watching, still counting, still deciding who's naughty and who gets fed next.